Did Saint Lucy have her eyes really removed? Or did someone remove her eyes? Is this true or false? Siracusa, or Syracuse, is a historic city on the island of Sicily, renowned for its rich Greek and Roman heritage, including ancient amphitheaters and architecture. Founded by Greek settlers from Corinth and Tenea, Siracusa became a powerful city-state, allied with Sparta and Corinth, and was a key player in Magna Graecia. In the 5th century BC, it rivaled Athens in size and influence, with Cicero calling it the greatest Greek city and the most beautiful. Later, Siracusa became part of the Roman Republic and Byzantine Empire, briefly serving as the Byzantine capital under Emperor Constans II. Though eventually surpassed by Palermo, it remains significant through Sicily's history. Today, Siracusa is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with a population of about 125,000 and is also mentioned in the Bible for St. Paul's visit. The city is also home to a famous Marian sanctuary where in 1953, a plaque image of the Blessed Mother wept in a middle working class neighborhood and was approved by the church the following year. However, for today's vlog, we will focus on the city's patron saint, Santa Lucia, whose feast we celebrate on December 13. Hello everyone, it's Anton on the go here, and for today's vlog, I want to share with you a very special saint which I think a sizable amount of Christians are familiar with, at least by her name. She is considered one of the most venerated early Christian virgin martyrs and is beloved especially here in Italy, particularly in Sicily. And this saint is no other than Saint Lucy, or Saint Lucia as she is commonly referred to. She is the patron saint of eyesight and is invoked by those with eye ailments and poor eyesights. And not to mention, she is also the patron saint of Siracusa, where I am currently in right now, and she is very important here to the local people. So Lucy's history has been lost, and all we really know of her, or we know for certain, is that this brave woman who lived in Siracusa right here lost her life during the persecution of Christians in the early 4th century. And her veneration practically spread to Rome, so that by the 6th century, the whole church recognized her courage in defense of the faith. Venerated as one of the 8 women commemorated in the Catholic canon of the Mass, Saint Lucy, or Santa Lucia, is one of the best-known virgin martyrs along with Cecilia in Rome, Agnes of Rome, and Agatha of Sicily. And since the early days of the Church, the people of Sicily have kept Saint Lucy's memory alive. I am currently at the sanctuary of Santa Lucia. Santa Lucia?
Santa Lucia al Sepolcro.
At the sanctuary of Santa Lucia al Sepolcro, or Saint Lucy's Sepulchre. And with me today is one of the tour guides here of the sanctuary. So I want to first of all say a big thank you for giving your time and doing this interview about Saint Lucy, because she knows a lot about Saint Lucy, who is the patron saint of Siracusa here in Sicily. So yes, this is Naomi, the tour guide. Hello.
Ciao.
Ciao. So Naomi, could you just please tell us, who is Saint Lucy, who is Santa Lucia, and why is she important here in Siracusa?
Saint Lucy for us is very important because she's our patron. Was born here in Syracuse at 282 after Christ. She was a Christian martyr during the Great persecution during the persecution against the Christians, and she died in Syracuse on 30 December 304. She's very important for us because she never denied her belief, and she died with a virgin blessed to God. And she's our patron. We celebrate here during the 13th December with a big celebration in Ortigia Island, and the silver statue outside the cathedral, and with a procession come here to this basilica in this part of the city called Borgata when she is born here, and the silver statue stay inside the cathedral for 7 days, and the 8 days come back with a procession and come back to the cathedral and stay in their chapel and close the door. And there is another celebration of St. Lucy in May, the first Sunday of the May.
That's right.
The call is Santa Lucia delle Quaglie, with a white dove, because remember the miracle, because there in the city there is a Eucharisty.
Siracusa celebrates two feasts in honor of Saint Lucy, one for the universal calendar on December 13, and the other during the month of May to commemorate the miracle of the doves. The miracle of Saint Lucy's doves refers to the 1646 event where the city was suffering from a severe famine. After the people prayed to Saint Lucy for her intercession, white doves flew into the cathedral of Siracusa as if to bring news of arriving grain ships during the severe famine, thus saving the city from starvation and making doves the symbols of her feast day. To this day, Saint Lucy is also known as Saint Lucy of the Doves.
And this, during the Mass in the cathedral, arrived this white dove, and in the port arrived this big shape with a grano, non lo so in inglese.
Okay, yes, yes.
Okay, and the epitome is finished. Okay, this is a miracle from St. Lucy, because all the people pray to St. Lucy to finish the epitome, the Eucharisty.
Yeah, okay.
I remember this event on the first May, the first Sunday of the May.
That's why people here in Siracusa celebrate two feast day, also here in May too,
Yeah.
for that miraculo.
Yes.
According to tradition, Saint Lucy was born to rich and noble parents in the year 283 AD. Her father was of Roman origin, but his early death left her dependent upon her mother, whose name, Eutychia, seems to indicate that she was of Greek heritage. Like several of the early martyrs, Lucia had consecrated her virginity to God, and she hoped to devote all her worldly goods to the service of the poor. Her mother, Eutychia, arranged a marriage for her, but for 3 years she managed to postpone the marriage. Lucy prayed at the tomb of Saint Agatha to change her mother's mind about her faith. As a result, her mother's long hemorrhagic illness was cured, and she consented to Lucy's desire to live for God. Lucy's rejected bridegroom, Pascasius, was enraged by this and denounced and exposed Lucy as a Christian. The governor planned to force her into prostitution, but when the guards went to fetch her, they could not even move her when they hitched her to a team of oxen. The governor then ordered her to be killed instead. After a gruesome torture which included having her eyes torn out, she was surrounded by bundles of wood which were set afire. But the fire quickly died out. She then prophesied against her persecutors, and was then executed through decapitation by being stabbed in the neck with a dagger. She was around 21 years old in the year 304 AD. According to later accounts, Lucia warned Pascasius that he would be punished. When the governor heard about this, he ordered the guards to gouge out her eyes. However, in another telling, it was Lucy who removed her own eyes in an attempt to discourage a persistent suitor who greatly admired her. When her body was being prepared for burial, they discovered her eyes had been restored. This, and the meaning of her name, which means light, led to her patronage with eyes, the blind, eye trouble, and other eye ailments. Hello everyone, so I'm here at the Sepulchre Shrine of Saint Lucy, where tradition says that she was martyred on this very site. And below this church, there are catacombs, the catacombs of St. Lucy, where she was first buried before her burial was transferred in this octagonal church. So it's very amazing because, like I mentioned, St. Lucy is the patron saint of Siracusa here in Sicily, and she is very important to the local people here. So I'm about to join the catacombs tour in honor of St. Lucy. I'm not so sure if I'm allowed to take pictures inside, But let's go and check it out. One of the most significant pilgrimage sites today in Sicily is the Church of Santa Lucia alla Sepolcro, or Saint Lucy's Sepulchre, which is the site where the saint was martyred and then buried beneath the catacombs. The shrine is home to Caravaggio's masterpiece, The Burial of Saint Lucy, and also houses some of her relics, most of which are currently in Venice. Inside the church, a column by the altar marks the spot where the saint was said to have been martyred. And outside, an octagonal church beside the main sanctuary is the chapel where the saint was buried. Inside, in the wall opposite the entrance, is the saint's sepulchre, a rock-cut tomb, now isolated from the catacomb system of which it was originally a part of, and which extends beneath the square. By the niche where the tomb of the saint was is a plaque with painted letters which reads, "Lucia, all the people are waiting for you," referring to the long-held wish that the remains of the saint should be returned to Siracusa. Since the fall of Constantinople, most of the relics of Santa Lucia have been held in Venice. And below the altar of this octagonal shrine lies the marble statue of the saint from the 1600s, sculpted by Gregorio Tedeschi. What is the importance of this site, Naomi, of the sepulchre?
We are in the place because this cathedral, built during in the place when she died. In fact, inside we have a column to the right side to remember the place of the death of Saint Lucy. And the little church in the square is a place when she's inside there is a grave of Saint Lucy, because in this part of the city we have the catacomb, and this is the first catacomb of the city, the Christian catacombs, when she's buried. When she became saint, her tomb was separated and recreated the octagonal temple.
So I'm here inside the shrine of Saint Lucy's Sepulchre, and here on the altar behind me are two very important and precious relics. The first one that you see on the altar, where I'm pointing at, is a painting by the famous Caravaggio, and this painting is entitled The Burial of Saint Lucy. This famous painting by the famous Caravaggio depicts the moment when she was buried right after her martyrdom. And over here where I'm pointing now is a column. This very important and precious relic, according to tradition, is said to mark the exact spot where the saint defended her faith and was killed. So this is the spot where she was decapitated. So how did she die?
She died because she was a Roman citizen, but she's believing in Jesus Christ. There is a persecution, she never denied her belief, and she died with a decapitation.
Decapitation. But then there are also some paintings that say that she was just stabbed in
because the neck. We have Latin sources told us that she died with a knife in the neck.
With a knife in the neck. So
yeah.
Was it really like decapitation, like they really chopped her head, or they just stabbed her?
Because the user from the Romans, the decapitation was a knife, not with a...
Okay, yeah, not in that way, okay. So she died in that way. Now, Naomi, let's talk about the story of the eyes. Did Saint Lucy have her eyes really removed, or did someone remove her eyes? Is this true or false?
False.
False.
It's true for the popular legend, for the people, okay. No, it's false. No. Saint Lucy is represented with eyes because her name in Latin language, lux means the light. That eyes is a spiritual light.
Mm-hmm. Going back to the historical center of Siracusa, in Ortigia's Piazza Duomo, there are two specific locations where pilgrims could also walk in the footsteps of Santa Lucia. First is the main cathedral, where throughout most of the year, the relics of Saint Lucy, such as her arm, are kept inside in a special side chapel in honor of the saint. Then just a few minutes walk on the left side of the piazza is the Chiesa di Santa Lucia alla Badia.
I'm here in the Duomo di Siracusa, or in the Cathedral of Siracusa. I can't speak too loud because we're inside here in the church, so we have to respect silence and practice some reverence. But behind me is the chapel of Santa Lucia, or the chapel of Saint Lucy, where some of her remains are to be found and are venerated. So if I'm not mistaken, it is the left arm of Saint Lucy, which is venerated in this chapel. But the thing is, her famous statue, which is venerated here in Siracusa, is not here in the cathedral, but in her church, the Church of St. Lucy, which is also not too far here from the cathedral. It's just a very, like a 2-minute walk from the cathedral, just right next door. Her statue is right there now because as of this filming in May, here in Siracusa, because St. Lucy is the patron saint of the city of Syracuse, the people here have 2 feast days in her honor. One in December, which is the Universal Feast Day of St. Lucy, December 13. And here in Siracusa, every first and second Sunday of May, they celebrate her feast. So the chapel is not really in use right now, and her famous image, which they use for procession around the city of Siracusa, is in her other church just down the street, down the piazza. So what's very interesting here is that the ex votos, or votive offerings, which have been left by pilgrims who have received miracles from God through the intercession of St. Lucy, they are in the shape or form of eyes, because St. Lucy is the patron saint of those who have poor eyesight, and for those who have experienced eye ailments, so those who have received blessings and miracles through her intercession and have recovered from eye ailments, or who have regained better eyesight, they have left these votive offerings in the shape of eyes here in the cathedral.
Going to the church of Santa Lucia alla Badia, one could find the patron of Sicily's relics on display every first and second week of May.
I'm here in the Church of St. Lucy, or the Chiesa di Santa Lucia, which is also just right next to the Cathedral of Siracusa, and both churches are just walking distance from each other and are in the same piazza. So those of you who are planning to visit Siracusa, it's not very difficult to find this church because they're just right next to each other. Now, right behind me is the famous statue of St. Lucy, which is processed here in Siracusa during her feast day. And also, right in front of me here is the relic of St. Lucy, a part of her arm. So both of these, the relic and the statue, both of these are enshrined in the main cathedral of Siracusa. As of this filming, because it is May, the people of Siracusa celebrate the feast of St. Lucy twice a year. So as I've mentioned, one in December, which is her universal feast day, and during the first and second weeks of May, where they have a huge procession right here. Hence why the statue and the relic of St. Lucy is enshrined right here in her shrine. So it is a very special time, a very important and very busy time for the people of Siracusa, but also a very grace-filled time for people to experience and reflect the life and virtues of this powerful saint. And you know, if we really look at St. Lucy's story, right, even if we don't know too much about her, we can say that it is most likely because she lived out her daily life in virtue. St. Lucy lived out her daily life in devotion to God. That's why when St. Lucy was faced with this trial, with these sufferings, with martyrdom, with her tormentors trying to get her to recant her faith, St. Lucy was able to overcome these difficulties because of her daily devotion to God. For her, it was just easy to say, no, I'm not giving up my faith in God. I've devoted my life to God, and I shall remain so. If you have to kill me, then so be it. You, as a local person here from Siracusa, who is Santa Lucia to you?
Saint Lucy She's an important person for us, for every people living in the city, but outside the city, because we come here, many people from Sweden, Norway, but Argentina, Mexico, and talk about St. Lucy. And she's present every day in our life.
Okay, so thank you so much, Naomi, for that information.
Thank you. Sorry for my English.
Oh, no, that was perfect. You did amazing, Naomi. Again, thank you so much for your time, for doing this. I know you're very busy with your work. And for everyone who was watching, I hope that this is good information on Santa Lucia. And because not a lot of people know her outside of Sicily, we know her by name, but not so much of her story. So Naomi here shed light on her story. So thank you so much. And please don't forget to click like and subscribe on Anton on the Go.
Ciao.
Ciao.